Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Jessica Gem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 3 of What If Deku Never Returned to UA? I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. 3 months ago, before the Paranormal Liberation War, and before society crumbled at the hands of Shigaraki and All for One, we look at Izuku Midoriya, training at UA High School. It was an odd phenomenon to speak about, mainly because explaining it would make him sound like he was bragging. That wasn't his intention, however. He would never brag about himself in such a way. It was just one of those situations that made the reality sound a bit pompous. He did enjoy this phenomenon, however, not because he felt confident, not at all, but because of how genuinely great it was for not only developing his quirk, but his own skills as a hero. Oh, and to actually explain, Aizawa-sensei had organized training exercises where the heavy hitters of the class would have to take on the other students. To be more specific, one of these heavy hitters would be tasked with going against 6 or 7 other students, meaning it was perfect training for not only teamwork on the fly, but preparing for situations where a hero is alone and forced to fight a large group of skilled people at once. Yeah, it definitely sounds a bit crazy, but with the simple fact that some quirks are generally more powerful than others, an exercise like this actually made quite a bit of sense. Even more so when considering Izuku was currently facing a 1 vs 7 challenge. He, by himself, was to go up against Mineta, Yayorozu, Asui, Ojiro, Sato, Hagakure, and Uraraka. It definitely sounded insane, knowing just how well-trained each and every one of his classmates was. But, and here comes the bragging part that he mentioned earlier, his quirk had gotten ridiculously strong. Izuku's quirk, One for All, was a quirk that was passed down from user to user. It was incredibly powerful, and with each new user, the quirk got stronger and stronger. The stockpiling effect had grown One for All into a ridiculously strong power. That's not to mention the quirks of the previous users who had recently started to awaken inside of him. Black Whip gives him an incredible edge in just about every aspect of combat. And of course, he's fought against villains that were incredibly strong, and he won. He fought against other students who were incredibly strong, and he won. He even fought against All Might, the strongest hero in the world, and he won. Well, sort of. In other words, Izuku was incredibly powerful. But this didn't mean that he would win against his classmates. They were each incredibly strong in their own right, and they had their own quirks that could give them an edge in a fight. He could do this. He had to do this if he was ever going to become a true hero. And so, Izuku charged. Out of the fray, he determined that Mineta would be both easiest to take out as well as the most troublesome opponent. His quirk could entrap him and render him motionless, and with its seemingly endless nature, it needed to be taken care of first. He hurled himself in Mineta's direction, using his speed and agility to his advantage as he weaved in and out of the other students' attacks. He could feel Ojiro's tail whip past his head, narrowly missing him, and he felt the whoosh of Yayorozu's capture net just as it flew over his body. He feigned to the left and then quickly changed directions, slamming his body into Mineta and knocking him to the ground. He heard his other classmates collectively gasp at how quickly he had subdued their purple-quirked friend. But he quickly put himself into a fighting stance regardless. He can't let his guard down for a second. But before he could even blink, he felt something hit him from behind, hard. He stumbled forward, barely catching himself before he fell face first into the dirt. He turned to see Asui standing there, her expression apologetic.
Sorry, Midoriya, but you're not the only one who's good at this.
He gritted his teeth and pushed himself to his feet, bracing himself for the next attack. It came from Sato this time, who had taken the opportunity to charge at him while he was distracted. He tried to dodge, but Sato's lunge was too fast, and he felt the other boy's shoulder connect painfully with his stomach. The air was knocked out of him, and he doubled over, clutching his stomach as he gasped for breath. He could hear the others approaching him, and he knew he was in trouble. With a quick recovery, he summoned Black Whip and used it to rip up the dirt underneath them. The move created a wall of dust and dirt that gave him enough time to jump back and regain his breath. He had forgotten how powerful Sato could be under his sugar rush, and he knew the others wouldn't be much easier to take down. He had to end this quickly. He charged at Hagakure, who was the closest to him, and leaped into the air, using full cowling to give himself a powerful boost. He brought his leg down on what he assumed was one of her arms, sending her skidding away on the ground. "That's two," he whispered under his breath. Something suddenly wrapped around his leg, tripping him and sending him crashing down next to Hagakure. He looked up to see Yaoyorozu standing over him, her face determined, and her hands holding what appeared to be a rope of some kind. "We're not going to let you win this, Midoriya." He groaned and pushed himself up, only to find his legs tangled in the rope Yaoyorozu had created. Before he could get himself free, however, he spots Ochako coming up from behind him and using her quirk to throw him in the air, releasing it at his apex and sending him flying to the ground. He just barely catches himself from the throw, getting his legs free and charging at Uraraka as quickly as he could. He feigned to the right, but she was ready for him and dodged easily. He changed directions and went for her other side, but she was already moving to intercept him. He felt a sudden surge of power course through his body, and without thinking, he activated One for All at 15%. The boost of power was enough to give him the edge he needed, and he quickly zipped past Uraraka. Surprising all of his classmates, he immediately ran to Ojiro, who he had spotted earlier as he was falling from the sky. It only takes 3 punches to completely knock him down. 3, Izuku counted to himself, eyes darting all around as he picks his next target. He turned to see Sato and Yaoyorozu both charging at him, and he knew he would be able to take them both down at once if he was clever enough. He acted quickly, using his quirk to send a powerful shockwave in their direction. The force of the blast was enough to send both of them flying backwards, and they hit the ground with a thud. Not wasting the chance, Black Whip coiled out from his arms and wrapped both of his classmates tightly. With a flick of his wrist, both are sent flying. And that's 5. He turned to see Asui and Ochako both approaching him, and he knew he had to end this now. He charged at Asui and leaped into the air, crashed into her with both of his legs and jumped off before her tongue could grab him. Spinning mid-air, he fired 3 finger flicks toward Ochako. The burst of wind almost knocked her off her feet, but she jumps back and uses her quirk to ride the current of air. He spots Asui below him jumping up, so he takes the opportunity to use Black Whip and pin her in the air. With Asui left motionless, he turns his attention to Ochako, who was still hovering in the air. He knew he had to take her down before she could escape, and suddenly he remembers that she's weightless. One for All courses through him at 20%, and he fires off a shockwave of wind that sends the girl flying up into the sky. He'd done it. He won the exercise. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. Staying safe online is an ever-growing difficulty, and hackers could exploit you. NordVPN allows you to change your IP address, making you harder to track, securing your privacy. In addition to providing you a safe passage through the web, you can also expand the reach of your favorite streaming services. Are you tired of going through 2, 3, or even 4 streaming services to watch your favorite anime? Well, with NordVPN, you can change your country and be able to binge shows like My Hero Academia, Naruto, and many others on your favorite streaming service with just the press of a button. Check out the link in the description to get 72% off when buying for 2 years at $329 a month. This deal is for a limited time, and thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Present day. As Ochako floated down from the sky, her mind can't help but recall the last time she and Deku had sparred. It had been the group battle exercise they had had a few weeks before the war. Deku had won back then. He'd blown her into the sky while her quirk was affecting her. And as she floats down now, she can't help but realize he could do the exact same thing he did before. It infuriates her that he doesn't. Instead, he simply chose to stand there and watch. Ochako hits the ground and rolls, using her momentum to get back on her feet. She looks at Deku and narrows her eyes. She understands they won't be able to overpower him, which means the only way they can bring him back is to convince him. "You could have blasted me away in the air," she says, her voice low and dangerous. "Why didn't you? And why aren't you running now?" Deku stays still, but she notices his mask shift. "You need to stop coming after me. It's not safe," he says, his voice soft. Ochako chuckles. "Not safe? What do you think being a hero is? It's never going to be safe. It's not supposed to be. It's scary and dangerous, and sometimes you get hurt. But you do it anyway because you know it's the right thing to do." Deku doesn't say anything, but the look on his face tells her everything she needs to know. Deep down, he knows she's right. "Why?" she asked, taking a step towards him. "Why won't you let us help you?" "Uraraka," Deku says, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is different. None of you can." He stops, suddenly and abruptly. Left and right, his head whipped violently through the air as if he were looking for something. She watched as black whips sprang to life around him, moving like snapping electric eels. Confused, she squinted her eyes and started to move towards him, but Deku's voice stopped her. "You need to leave! Now!" She reeled back, eyes widening and confusion flooding her mind. "Deku, you know why we're here!" "Please!" Faster than she can blink, he appears right in front of her. "Uraraka, please! You need to take Kacchan and Todoroki! You need to get as far from here as possible!" A frost in the air washed over them. They stood frozen in place. It sank into the ground and rose up through the grass, entrapping their feet and sending shivers down their spines. In front of her, Ochako could see Izuku's eyes, beneath his mask, wide with fear, shaking as he stared back at her. Behind her, a chilling voice spoke.
Well, it seems we meet again, Izuku Midoriya.
Tomura Shigaraki had arrived. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the content thus far. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to say, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What Ifs channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years and older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching. Farewell and have a divine day.